Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to Notes 3.5 Part 2. So here's this problem. The following table shows the time it takes to ride the elevator to 3 different floors in a skyscraper. So we got the floor number and the time it takes, right? Based on this table, is the floor number proportional to the time it takes to get there? So we want, do these ratios end up being the same? So it's 4 over 0.25, 16 over 1, and 64 over 4. Are they all the same ratio when simplified? So 4 divided by 4.25, basically you could ask yourself how many quarters are in $4. Well, there's $4 and 4 quarters in $1, so in $4 there's 16 quarters. 16 over 1, that's 16. And 64 over 4, if you use your reference sheet, 4 goes into 64 16 times. So yes, they are proportional. Again, they have that same ratio that gets simplified to 16. Let's take a look at another one. Does the following table show a proportional relationship between the variables g and h? So here's g and h. So we have 3 over 9, 6 over 36, and 9 over 81. So 3 over 9, if we divide them by 3, that gives us 1/3. 6 over 36, we can divide them both by 6, that gives us 1/6. And then 9 and 81, we can divide them by 9, and that gives us 1/9. So no, they are not proportional, right? They all have different ratios. Okay. And now lastly, I'm going to actually teach you how to solve proportions. Basically what you have, you can do this in 2 ways. You can ask yourself, what number times 3 gives you 9? And then do the same multiplier on 12, or you can cross multiply and divide, because sometimes asking yourself what number times 6 gives you 8 is a little bit tricky, right? So here's how you do it. You do 3 times m, which gives you 3m, equals, and then you do 12 times 9, which gives you 84, right? Oh, no, sorry, that's wrong. 108, my bad. 108. Now, the next part is you just divide both sides by 3 to figure out what m is. I'll eventually tell you that these will cancel out. We'll get to that when we get to equations, but for right now, believe me, 3 divided by 3 is just 1, and 1 times a variable is just that variable. So m equals, and then basically you're just doing 108 divided by 3, and that gives you 36, and your answer is D. So now if you plug 36 back into this ratio, is 3/12 the same thing as 9/36? Well, let's ask ourselves, is 3/12 equal to 9/36, right? Well, 3/12 if you simplify it, that's going to give you 1/4, and 9 over 36 if you simplify it, both divide by 9, that's also going to give you 1/4. So yes, 36 is correct because we made those proportional. All right, let's look at number 2 and try and do the same thing. So we do 6 times k, that gives us 6k equals, and then we do 3 times 8, and that gives us 24. And now if you recall, the second step is to divide both sides by 6. And when we do that, this cancels out. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 1 times k is just k. 1 times anything is the thing you multiply it by, right? And then 24 divided by 6 is 4. 24 divided by 6 gives you 4. So your answer is 4. So ask yourself, is 3 over 6 the same thing as 4 over 8? Yes, it is, because we have 3 over 6 is 1/2 and 4 over 8 is 1/2. Let's do another one. 9 times 10, oops, and we're also going to be doing r times 3, my fault. So 3r equals 90. Divide both sides now by 3. Those cancel out, so r is equal to 90 divided by 3 is 30. So let's ask yourself, I think C is the answer. So is 9 over 30 the same thing as 3 over 10? Well, 3 over 10 can't be simplified, so that's just 3/10, but 9 and 30 divided by 3, you get 3/10, so yes. Number 4, I'll probably ask you to do an end puzzle. So now if we take these problems and put them in a word problem, basically what we're going to do is set up proportions. Now the thing that you always want to do is make sure that you write down what you're comparing and then set up your proportions accordingly. And we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. But also notice that you can round your answer to the nearest whole number. So you will be able to use a calculator on your homework tonight, but you got to show the work just like I am. So let's read. A globe that is 2 feet tall casts a shadow that is 4 feet long. So basically we are comparing things that are tall and how long their shadow are. So it's important to write this down because now we can write our first ratio. It was 2 feet tall and 4 feet long. So we'll write 2 over 4 equals, sorry, I didn't mean to write an equal sign here. I meant to write a arrow. So that's our first ratio, 2 over 4 equals. Now it says find the height of an adult elephant that cast a 16-foot shadow. So again, that keyword shadow, and it will tell you, hey, where did we put shadow? We put shadow in our denominator, so 16 should go in the denominator. And now what we're solving for is x, right there, right? A question mark. So what do we do here? We say 4 times x, which is 4x, equals 2 times 16, which is 32. And now, second step is divide. Divide by 4, divide by 4. Those cancel out because 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times anything is that thing. 1 times x is just x. So x equals 32 divided by 4 is 8. A is your answer, and then you'll double check, right? You'll make sure that, hey, is 2 over 4 the same thing as 8, that's what you got for x, over 16, the other. And is 2 over 4 half? Yes. 8 over 6 is half? Yes. Right? Let's look at number 6. A model is 8 inches tall. If it was built with a scale of 2 inches to 4 feet, then how tall is the real house? So really it looks like what we're comparing here is inches and feet. Right? And one of the ratios they give us is actually in the second sentence, 2 over 4. And then if we go back to the first sentence, we see 8 inches. So because we put inches on top, 8 should go on top. 8 over x. Right? So now we'll go ahead and say 4 times 8 and 2 times x. Right? So we get 2x equals 32. Divide both sides by 2. And we get our answer of x equals 32 divided by 2 is 16. A. Okay? I'll let you do these last two, 7 and 8 in Edpuzzle. That's the end of part 2.